Let's preview the NFC West next on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Welcome to FFT in 5. I'm Chris Towers. I'm here with Adam Azer, and we are previewing the NFC West. If you listened to yesterday's podcast, you know how this is going to work. We're going to pick a division winner, talk about the biggest question for that division, and then Adam's going to give us a sleeper, a breakout, and a bust from this division. We're going to do this for every division in the NFL over the next couple of weeks leading up to training camp, and there's an obvious division winner here. The 49ers are the class of the NFC West. They might be the best team in the NFL. They went 13-4 last season. Even if there's some regression, this is still clearly the best team in the division, right?
I don't know about clearly because you're really putting a lot of faith into Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy. I have enough faith in him to make them the division winner. But he's coming back from major arm surgery. So I think they definitely have quarterback questions. I think the Seahawks are so loaded offensively. Offensive line looks good. I think they got Draymond Jones to upgrade their run defense. They've got young cornerbacks. The Seahawks are pretty dangerous, I'd say, but I do think it's tough to pick against the 49ers to win the division.
Yeah, Brock Purdy went, I believe it was 7-0 in the games that he started and finished, 8-0 if you count the one that he played pretty much the entire game against Miami. We don't count the one where he got hurt and only had 4 pass attempts, but I think that's the biggest question for this team is just, biggest question for the division really is, what can you expect from Brock Purdy? Is he ready for week 1 first? And was last year for real? Because if it was, we saw George Kittle play really, really, really well with him. We saw Brandon Ayuk put up big numbers. We saw Christian McCaffrey continue to dominate. The problem is the 49ers offense is just constantly a math problem. They've got so many incredibly talented players, 3, I would argue, elite or borderline elite pass catchers, plus Christian McCaffrey. Elijah Mitchell had a pretty big role even after McCaffrey was traded there last year when he was healthy. And so this is going to be an elite offense for fantasy. Is it going to be concentrated enough? And is Brock Purdy going to be able to elevate everyone is the biggest question here.
I don't think so. I think he doesn't throw the ball downfield. He doesn't have a very good arm. So I think that really hurts Ayuk. I mean, I wanted to call Ayuk a breakout, but I just don't see it happening with Brock Purdy. I think it's better for Deebo Samuel and McCaffrey and Kittle and anyone that's going to be a short area target. I don't think he's going to elevate them. No, but they're so good. I mean, I don't think Deebo's going to have a 1,400-yard season anymore, but I do think that they can all be, must roster players. Deebo and Kittle and McCaffrey obviously could be must start. Ayuk is the one I really worry about with Purdy because I just don't think he's a very good fit. By the way, my biggest question for this division is when is Kyler Murray going to play? I think
sure.
I feel specifically for Marquise Brown.
I mean, kind of big questions at quarterback, at least in 3 different spots, because can Matthew Stafford stay healthy? Is Kyler Murray going to be ready? Probably not week 1, but is he going to play, much at all this season? There's a lot of questions here. Let's move on to the favorite sleeper for Adam Azer from the NFC West.
James Conner. I don't really get it. He's a guy who has no competition. Why is he going so far behind Cam Akers? I mean, Connor's involved in the passing game in a big way. Why is he going so far behind Dameon Pierce? He's a lead running back. Yeah. Are they going to be terrible? Yeah. They were terrible last year. Yeah. They're the 3rd pick in the draft. James Conner is a sleeper even at his age. I mean, even though, he's already been a breakout basically, but he's a 7th or an 8th round pick right now. He's an easy pick for me in that range.
Yeah. The one that I really don't get is Cam Akers. He's going about a round after Cam Akers. And it's like the Rams offense could be a disaster too. Cam Akers, we're pretty sure he's not going to catch passes. I don't see much reason for Cam Akers to go ahead of James Conner. So that one I don't get. Give me a breakout from the NFC West.
I had a really hard
time. It's a tough one.
Yeah. And I was going to say Ayuk. I think there's a chance because if you look at like advanced metrics and people who break down football, they love Ayuk.
He's really, really good. Yeah.
The 49ers love Ayuk. After all I said, I don't really think I can make him a breakout. So I feel like I would have to go with a rookie and I would have to say like Jackson Smith and Jigba or something like that. But I really don't know where to go with this. Who could Geno Smith just broke out? This is an impossible
that's a tough one.
Question.
Maybe
it's Ken Walker. I think the role of Charbonnet could be completely overstated and Walker could just do what he did last year for a full season.
I will give you one that you actually opened my eyes to on a podcast recently. That's Marquise Brown, who already broke out last season.
Yeah.
He played the first 6 games with
I should have gone with him.
Played the first 6 games without DeAndre Hopkins, averaged 18.25 PPR points per game. That would have been good for wide receiver 7, just ahead of AJ Brown for the full season. Now, is it Colt McCoy at quarterback? Is it Kyler Murray for most of this? I don't know what that's going to look like. So it's a pretty ugly situation, but he's shown that potential. Let's get a bus before we go.
Sure, this is easier. I'm gonna go with Deebo Samuel. You already said math problem, and that's just what it is. But for as much as they love Ayuk, McCaffrey being there, Elijah Mitchell being there, I don't see more than 4 carries a game for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to get any rushing touchdowns. Maybe he'll break 1 or 2, but we're not going to get short yardage rushing touchdowns from Deebo. So I would not take him in the 3rd round. I really would prefer to wait until the 5th round for Deebo Samuel, especially in PPR. You're not going to get a ton of receptions from Deebo Samuel. So 36th overall right now in ADP. Try to wait at least 1 more round before you get Deebo.
I think the thing I would say is there are a decent number of ways for things to go right for Deebo Samuel. I just think from a fantasy perspective, given the math problem that they have, given how many people they have to feed, and just his injury history too, there are probably more paths where things are disappointing for Deebo Samuel than where you're really, really happy you drafted him. So I agree, 3rd round, probably a little rich, prefer 4th or 5th round for Deebo Samuel, but certainly like the player. Just the situation isn't as great as it could be given how good that offense is. And that's going to do it for FFT and 5. We'll be back tomorrow to preview the NFC North. We'll see you then.